this video, I will be showing you 8 tips to take you from an absolute noob in Fortnite Mobile to being able to climb the ranks up to Unreal. These tips will take you from reaching for a controller every game to never needing one again. We're going to start with your overall playstyle on mobile, going over your HUD and how to hold your device, and then go into settings to help you improve quickly. And finally go over important strategic knowledge you need in order to improve on mobile. These tips will be more geared towards zero build, but by learning zero build first, you give yourself a good foundation in gameplay to be able to move into builds later. And you also learn everything you need to know for mobile series events. So without further said, jump straight in with tip number 1. You gotta get your HUD right. If you're a first timer on mobile, I assume you're still playing on the default HUD, or maybe a slightly edited one you came up with yourself, playing with 2 or maybe 3 fingers and having zero idea how to lay your buttons out. And that's okay, but we need to fix that. First, 2-finger gameplay is the one thing you need to stray away from as much as possible. The reason for this is that whenever your thumbs are off the screen, you either can't look or can't move, and that is the one thing you need to avoid at all times. On other inputs like controller and PC, you're usually using 4, 6, or 8 fingers at a time, but on mobile, you have the choice to use as many or as few as you want. Personally, I think the sweet spot is 5 to 8 fingers, as this allows you to keep your thumbs on the screen at all times and let your index and middle fingers handle everything else. For your HUD, you want a maximum of 2 to 3 actions per finger so you don't get overwhelmed when switching between buttons. Personally, I have my fingers laid out like this as you see on screen: 1 finger for the hotbar, 1 finger purely for shooting to have the best reaction time possible when autofire doesn't kick in, and on the right side, 1 finger for jumping and crouching, and another for sprinting and use. If you're having trouble building your own HUD, go online and check out HUDs from popular pros who play on a similar device to yours and copy them. You can edit over time to fit your needs, and then you'll have your perfect HUD. Anyways, let's go straight into tip number 2, which is holding your device right. Most people decide to hold their device when they're first learning Fortnite Mobile, but as you'll learn right now, that is a huge mistake. When playing Fortnite Mobile, you should always make sure your tablet or phone is flat on a surface or in your lap, with your hands placed over it. If you need to, you can use a finger to hold it steady, but you should never be gripping the tablet outright. This is because when you hold the device, your thumb and index finger move at the same time because of a tendon that connects the two. You'll notice the same thing with your ring and pinky fingers. Playing this way can cause missed inputs, muscle strain, and make it much harder to move quickly on mobile. Once you have all of that down, we have to move straight into getting used to it. I know, sounds obvious, of course you're going to need to get used to your HUD, but what I mean is that you need to build the muscle memory pathways in your mind. Fortnite has the highest actions per minute of any esport, period. By having your muscle memory down, you ensure you'll never need to look at your screen to find where a button is. Especially for beginners, just jumping into creative or the pit and trying to do as much as possible with a new HUD and grip is the way to go. Another important thing, once you do learn your HUD, try not to make drastic changes to it. Even the slightest change can throw you off for weeks. Just like on keyboard and controller, the majority of players get used to one set of binds and stick with them for their entire career, only making minor adjustments based on weaknesses. Once you have everything related to your input down, we need to focus on your aim. Before we do though, I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the summer, so if these tips help you in any way, a quick sub would mean the world. Now, let's get into changing your sensitivity. Your sensitivity is integral to everything you do in Fortnite Mobile, and it starts with one question: red pill or blue pill? Look acceleration for better aim, or raw touch for better mechanics? If you don't know what look acceleration is, it's basically the faster you swipe on the screen, the farther your crosshair moves. And the slower you swipe, the shorter it moves. With raw touch, your crosshair moves the same distance no matter how fast or slow you swipe. Look acceleration is amazing for tracking or locking onto players jumping around you in zero build, but it's much harder to get mechanically good with because you can't easily build sensitivity-based muscle memory for editing. I personally use look acceleration because I'm all in on ZB, but if you aren't, I recommend skipping it because raw touch will be better for you in the long run. Once you choose one, hop into a practice map and find a sensitivity range you're comfortable with. You can also find settings for mobile pros to copy, but I do recommend making slight adjustments for your own needs. Personally, I got mine from Wayox and just bumped up my build and edit multipliers, and that was my perfect sense. With that down, let's go over the rest of your game options. So for your overall game options, your FOV should be set to the maximum it can go. Turn on hold to fire for semi-automatic weapons, as this lets you shoot pistols much faster than controller and PC players, and you should be using auto fire, but not as a crutch, as a strength. Once you learn how to fire with your own reaction time, Use autofire to get that extra level of aim assist that lets you shoot through trees and objects. Don't use simple build, it's not worth it. Simple edit is up to preference, and everything else comes down to preference too, so just test each option and see what works for you. When it comes to video settings though, we have to move on to tip number 6, which is maximizing your performance. Your frame rate and ping aren't just affecting how smooth the game is. They directly affect how strong your aim assist and autofire are, and how smooth your overall tracking is in-game. To maximize your performance in-game, I have a full optimization guide linked in the info tag and in the description with complete steps for both iOS and Android. Using that guide, you'll have a smooth 120, 60, or 90 FPS that will give you the best possible aim and tracking on Fortnite Mobile, and you'll be improving in no time. Next, onto tip number 7, you need to learn your movement. After you get your performance perfect and your sensitivity perfect, we have to move on to just how you move in-game. Movement is one thing almost everyone on mobile struggles with. It's extremely hard to sprint, slide, jump, shoot, build, and edit all at the same time. That's why I suggest learning zero builds first, as it basically forces you to nail the basics before adding building on top. You should be practicing basic sprint shooting, sprint and slide spamming, mantling and hurdling properly, and you should be practicing grapple sliding, which is especially useful in reload. I recommend using the Pit Zero build to practice, but there is also ZB movement maps that can help you. Mastering these will be the primary differentiator that lets you move up to the next tier of skill. And finally, for our last tip, you need to leverage your strengths. You need to combine all of the previous tips I've just given you and utilize every single feature Epic Games has given mobile players that gives you an advantage over others. For example, swapping and dropping weapons without stopping your movement or losing sight of the screen. Instantly shooting someone at a peak with trigger bot response time, and resetting your edits in one tap. Those 3 advantages that we have are all things that you should be leveraging at all times in build and zero builds. You need to use everything available to you to beat out your enemies and build strategies around these strengths. I'm not going to get too specific into this because this is something you overall need to develop yourself through gameplay. So I recommend that you just hop into ranked and start grinding, or start playing realistics and start learning all of the strengths you have on mobile. You can even watch pro gameplay and VOD review players like Losty and Ali, and learn how they use those strengths in order to win massive prize pools. Anyways, that's all for the tips. If you want to go watch the optimization guide, you can tap to the right here, or if you want to see how I won the back cup using these tips, you can tap here. And thank you for watching.